All right, welcome everyone. Yeah, I'm going to put this in my pocket for a second. Well, thank you. Really pleased with the turnout. Hi, I'm one of the deans here, Michael Voss, and someone who helped championing bringing this product on board. And so I just want to, here's sort of the format. I'm going to share a little bit about why we chose the product. Mona's going to share her role in the curriculum and scheduling office, integrating with the product vendor, and what we kind of have to do to sort of line up the back end. Andrew's going to share his role as another person supporting the product and really with the API integration, and he can explain what that is. So it's not a product that sits in isolation. It actually integrates with our web pages, so a lot of that data is available, and you might not even know that it's fed off of Career Coach. So he'll share how that works, and then we'll turn it over to Aaron and Ralph from MC, and then we're going to rinse, lather, and repeat this thing 3 times today for 3 different groups. So as far as Career Coach goes, I'm familiar with the product because I had used it previously at another college for a long period of time. Many colleges actually use what's called MC Analytics for their back-end workforce development. It's probably one of the longest standing products out there for economic development offices and workforce researchers in the public sector. So people like John Catapano and myself have used that for well over a decade to inform why we stand up the programs that we stand up, do needs analysis and stuff like that. So it's one of the most mature systems in terms of labor market analytics. Career Coach is a platform that's, and they can tell you how long it's been up, but it's been up for a while.
2008 is when we started doing it. This is obviously probably the 3rd iteration.
Yeah, because I feel like I've been familiar with the platform for at least a decade, so, and using it. This is a simplified front-end version, really intended to have all that powerful data, but in a palatable format for students, right? And it's intended to be simple enough that it doesn't require really instruction. The language is at a level that the general public, who's not even a student yet, can research do some basic career exploration. It doesn't supplant, what we do in career services and all that good work we do as advisors, but the thing that we really like about the product, the reason we chose it, is you don't have to have a login to begin to integrate with getting the data. So it's a distinguishing factor between that and any other product really that I know of that's out there. Is you don't have to have a login to get access to do a interest profile and get your career matches tied to educational programs we have here at Mesa Community College. There is a login, some enhanced functionality. They can tell you what that might do, and we could explore that in the future as far as career services goes, and what of that do we really want to use, because we already have a robust product in Maricopa CareerLink. Okay? Just a few other things about this. So I would say that the top quartile or so of American Association of Community Colleges, many of those folks use this product. And very large systems, one being the entire state of California. All 113 community colleges executed a contract last spring, I believe, actually, it was 3 years ago. 3 years ago. So in that system, there's a California level of this where they can do this, and it actually tells you not only what your interests say, these are the programs that would be a good match for you, but here are the colleges where those are available. You can do regional selection down to your geography within the state. So thinking forward, that's maybe how it might look here in Maricopa if we scale this up, because how often do you have to sort of say, oh man, which college offers what program? This would do it electronically. And I would say that those are my main reasons for wanting to bring it here, and I'm an active champion to try to bring this to scale. So I'm considering this first year a pilot. That said, we are very committed to it. But I want to demonstrate a good use case, and we've done all the heavy lifting to figure out the logistics of how we integrate it with our SIP codes and SOC codes and all that business, and how we model it on the web page. And the last thing I'll say is, in addition to this product, we gave a lot of thought to how do we link it to the program pages in a way And really you want to have it out there where the undecided students might go. And so Andrew can talk more about that in a bit. But I'm going to turn it over to Mona.
Good morning. Good morning. So I worked on this project 2 months ago. Now I'm trying to remember everything after working on many projects after. But mainly all the programs and the pathways that the GPS have been building, I linked them in Career Coach, and they are listed under the fields of interest, the 9 fields of interest. And they are linked to the SAC codes. So they link to the careers, and then when students take the assessment here, they either take a 6 questions assessment or a 60 questions. And actually, I'm excited to have my 17-year-old son take this assessment because every day he says he wants something else. So after they take the assessment, it will show the top categories, the top career clusters. And if you click, for example, on the top one, if it says the highest percentage, it will list the programs under it. And for advisors and anyone who sees it, if you see any error with the pathways that are linked, please email me, because the GPS are still making changes even to the ones that were approved. I mean, approved by curriculum, making a cleanup. And same for the next one, and I think that's all for me. It's your turn, Andrew. Thank you.
Yeah, so as Mona showed off here, essentially all the programs are mapped to the different career clusters. So if it's something we don't actually offer, and it's something that Michael's made a note of, here you can see we actually mentioned the AJAC at least. So minimally, you're always going to get some sort of result on the website, at least talking about something, even if we don't teach it. But if it is something we teach in some fashion, I guess we don't have any on this particular one. But as far as integration with the MESA website, so here's the MESA's homepage. We do link it as an option in our programs and degrees if you're undecided. So here you can see this little block here, where if you're undecided, we have a link there. We can actually get into programs and degrees, same kind of thing, the main website here. You get this. And it's kind of peppered throughout the website in either cross-sells or in career services, stuff like that, to get to that tool. How we integrated it into the site is, so like here is a discipline page, a marketing level page for computer science here on the website. And because I know all the different degrees you're transferring to, I have SOC codes. And because I have SOC codes, I'm able to roll up and here give you example salary data, pulling from the API. And here you can actually click on this, expand it, and we have a wide range of stuff that's available to us as far as education level, job data, growth, annual openings. This is Maricopa County specific information. And surprisingly, this actually updates quite often. Like, it's not just like a one and done, it's actually constantly being updated. It's a little bit more accurate. The information is being culled from not only full-time employees, but part-time, contract, freelancers. It's a bigger subset than what ONET provides. And so because we have the integration with all the different SOC codes for all these programs, anywhere we have a SOC code for a program, I'm able to give this kind of information as far as salary data, what you'll be doing, what education level, growth, and all of that kind of information. And similarly, if you go into a pathway map, so this is the computer science emphasis, that we have the SOC codes kind of feed into here. So, any questions about this integration side? I went a little bit fast.
Yeah, is based just in Arizona when you talk about the salary data? Is that the...
Yes. So we actually have access. They have access to several different regions. We can go by zip code. We can go by regions of zip code, state, county. With Career Coach, we decided to go with Maricopa County because it just was a better range than trying to do radiuses. And so right now this is Maricopa County specific regions, but we have subsets that we can kind of pull from with the API. Yes?
So you said that it's going to be linked to the homepage of the FOIs, is that correct?
Well, so what it will be, we have not implemented FOIs yet, but because programs fold into FOIs, they will be there. But what Mona was speaking to is here for right now, when you look at the actual Career Coach product, when you go to programs, here's the FOIs. And so all the different programs, that, as we currently know, are listed here underneath the FOIs.
Yeah, but the one that you showed us was the computer one?
Yeah.
And so does every department have that on the landing page now?
Yes. So Mesa's site's a little funky, a little weird. Now we do discipline level. So we roll up into a kind of a pre-FOI kind of concept. We've been doing it for years. And so yes, anywhere we have programs listed at discipline level, like computer science, exercise science, health management, yeah, we roll up and we have SOC codes, we can bring them up that level, yes.
Okay, so I didn't see them for education science.
well, let's see. Let's do early care. It's like here, this is early care, and it's here. Again, if I have the SOC codes, because we're getting the SOC codes from CCTA, from the curriculum website, Mona and curriculum can actually add them in as well. So like for transfer degrees and stuff like that. But then if we look at a specific, let's look at this pathway map, this transfer pathway map, we should have SOC codes associated with it. Yeah. So here you get examples of different stuff you can teach or kind of get into. Again, these are examples of what you could be. They're not what you're necessarily going to get by getting your education here, and that's where we kind of quantify it by saying you traditionally need a master's professional degree in order to get this job, but we want to show you what you could do. So we do give you that range of here's what the typical education level is for that career in Maricopa County.
So Adam, do you hyperlink then? So if the student is in here, they're like, oh, this looks interesting, does this hyperlink into like the career coach page?
We don't right now, primarily because we wanted to keep them in our kind of funnel as far as call to actions, to kind of keep them into our versus having them jump out and then come back around. We had ideas of kind of doing almost doing a career landing page where we kind of do that kind of thing, but we're not right now. We're kind of, primarily we want to use it on our front and keep it in our funnel, and then where Career Coach would feed into this. So that's Career Coach's links. When you're actually on Career Coach, they would point to, they essentially point to our website when applicable.
So when a student enters into your website, how are they finding out about career coach?
It's either here, like when you see these not sure what you want to study, this kind of undecided, or we integrate the data into our current discipline model. Because here's our basic FOI, or fields of interest right now, as we've been doing it for a couple of years until FOI comes for real. These kind of disciplines as we've done it, and so here's where you would kind of click, and then we're integrating that data here.
So would students have the option to go directly to the Career Coach website and explore that versus our website, or is that
Yeah.
just kind of the back
So-
end?
So,
Okay.
yeah, so the question was, can they go to Career Coach and explore? So the hierarchy of things is the links to Career Coach are where the undecided students go. If they navigate to a program page, they're already asking for more specific information. And so we extract the data that we want to have appear there in terms of the SOC codes there. But at the highest level, that's where we're putting them into Career Coach, right? So on that front program page, I'm sorry, not program, but the MCC homepage, when you go down and you go to programs and degrees, because he has all the data analytics that most students go to programs and degrees when they search us. And so if you're not sure what you want, the link is right there front and center on our homepage, right? So that's how they can get into it. Then the thought process is once they use Career Coach, they do an interest profile. In there, it tells them these are programs that are a match. Then if you want a deeper dive, you drop them onto the program page from there. And we have no intention to have that be a circular deal, right? We want to drop them at their final destination, and then the call to action there is apply now, request more information, and get integrated. Because we want them to apply, which then would bring them into the system and have advisors do deeper dives. Does that make sense?
Sure. And on the main Career Coach page, I know there's buttons that you can pick. Is there a possibility or even discussion about once the pathway maps are student-friendly to bring in a button to see the pathway map as they're exploring?
So go to the programs. Okay. So once they get their program, first a few things, like this will get updated to the icons that we're using and the color coding that we're using once that's determined. So now go to any program page, okay? So click on an available program, it doesn't matter which one. Okay, so now, this one here, the call to action again, once they're in Career Coach is to start application to our application page. Tuition information, our tuition page. Program info, our program page. And then on the program page again, the pathway map is there. Again, another call to action to apply now. Because really what we want them to do is make decisions about careers and apply, that's the call to action, or request more information once we get the CRM doing what it needs to do. Does that make sense? So I've used this before where we had it a circular deal, right? And now I think because we have better call to action in here and we have better call to action on our program pages, we don't need to keep cycling them back to Career Coach, because once we get them into our area, they can navigate around pretty well. That makes sense?
Michael, I just also wanted to mention that the Career Coach button is on Career Services page too. So that's another place where
Yep.
the student is looking, if they're undecided, if they, whatever,
Yep.
they land on Career Services, there's also a big button there too. So that will take them through this whole process.
And so what Chris just said is the Career Coach link is on the Career Services page as well. And traditionally we've thought of Career Services as the back-end connection for established students, right? But we need to have it on the front-facing and any place students go. So our advisors really need to know about the product and how it works. But this is not intended to be the super deep dive. We have we want to have that high-touch communication with the folks, but we do want to get them in the right place. So I'm going to turn it over to Aaron and Ralph that can tell you a little bit more about this, and honestly, it's a very intuitive product to use. But there's analytics and all kinds of cool stuff, so I'm going to turn it over to you, and there you go.
You want to put that on
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So I don't throw it. I get a little excited, so
Are you okay if I do it, or do you want someone else to? clip
I'm
it?
okay if you do it. That's fine.
Just clip it right on the back here, and then your hair.
Perfect.
All right.
So I'm Erin, and this is Ralph, my colleague. Ralph knows more but I'm more vocal. So you guys get me. He'll interject if I'm missing something. So I'm from Moscow, Idaho. I flew out of Moscow in it was like 48 degrees. It's a little warmer here, a little sunny. So I want to kind of give you an introduction to EMSI and tell you a little bit about what's behind Career Coach so you actually trust this data. So here's a little video on who we are.
Every individual has a career trajectory, starting from when they start mowing lawns to when they retire. So if we can provide more data at the point of decision for those individuals, then we're going to have not only that individual be successful, but the companies that are hiring them are going to be more successful. We're going to have colleges that are successful because they have people coming in their doors who have a career vision and know what they want to be part of. You can think about it in a Venn diagram, right? You have a circle with people, and education, and employers. And so what we want to do is we want to find where's the overlap between all three circles, right? What are the things you love that you can find the education that employers want to pay you to do, right? And all of that happens within a region.
And the way that EMSI breaks it down is people create resumes and profiles. Employers create job postings. Education institutions create curriculum. Ultimately, all this data, profiles, postings, and curriculum sit on top of labor market information. And labor market information is the data we get from government sources that gives us a foundational understanding of the industry's occupations and demographics that compose regions. We bring together those different data sets to make one cohesive data set that we can use at any place for any kind of workforce, talent, or education decision.
And so that's what our mission is. We use labor market data to connect people, education, and employers.
Montgomery College has been an EMSI client for 12 years, and we've been a client primarily because, one, the great customer service, and two, we trust the data. And three, we want to make data-informed decisions, and having that kind of information at our fingertips in a very usable, user-friendly format facilitates us achieving our mission, which is to empower students, to enrich the life of our community, and to hold ourselves accountable.
And so what EMSI is constantly striving for is how do we make this complex labor market really simple so that you have the one piece of information you need to make the right decision about your life, about your program, or who you should hire.
If you're not using MC data, you're in the dark ages. And the reason is this: you may think you have it figured out, you may think you have a better tool, but frankly you don't. Every single stakeholder that we have showed MC data to, the first response is, where did you get this?
Having it already aggregated and know that it's just going to be there in seconds is really incredibly valuable.
We are trying very hard to give agency to the user, to the student, to the job seeker, to the workforce employer to help optimize their results.
The ability to have data accessible and insight that's actionable is something that is a huge luxury. Formerly, we had to do all the work ourselves.
I don't have to go to 50 different sites and try to Frankenstein this thing together. I can actually go to MZ and get all the data in one report.
It's elevated the status of our entire organization because we have a research team who is able to put out timely industry reports with reliable data.
There were elements of our economy that we just didn't know about. But now MC's tools actually help us build the business case to say this is why you need to invest in our community.
I just look forward to seeing what MZ is going to do next.
That's our little town. It's a town of 24,000. We basically exist because the University of Idaho is there. Half of our population are college students. So a little smaller than you guys, a little colder than you guys. MZ started in about 1998. We had two founders who worked at University of Idaho as economists, and they were commissioned by the ACCT to make an economic impact study for community colleges. At that time, no one really had data to show how much impact community colleges have in your region. We all had feelings, right? Like, I feel like Susie got a job and I feel like Susie's doing really well. But we needed data because we can't talk about Susie. We need to talk about your 20,000 students. So they created kind of a model for economic impact studies for community colleges. And after they created this model, colleges wanted that data themselves. And they weren't computer programmers, but they had this forethought that this data could be used not only to make community colleges successful, employers successful in their region, connecting that supply and that demand, those students with those employers, but they also had the dream of making sure that students got into the right job, a well-paying job, and had the skills that they needed. And so they grabbed a bunch of computer data scientists and they started creating software. We started with analysts, and yesterday I spent all day kind of talking about what's behind this. All these government sources, there's over 90 government sources that we have to actually gather and dissect and understand and unsuppress to be able to get this data. Once we got all this data, we created this software called Analyst, and it's gone through multiple iterations. Is it on its third or something? So that had been used for a few years, and colleges were making data-driven decisions, and it was eye-opening. About 2008, we came forward because Gallup and Strata did a study. They found that students, if they come into college knowing what they want to do, even if that changes 5 times, their success rate is significantly higher. So if I'm coming into college, I have no idea, I kind of muddle around, I wander around, I don't know where I fit, what is my success rate? But if I have a goal, even if that goal changes, I still have a goal, and I'm going to get through college faster. So we decided to make well, not me, although I always say that I'm the rock star, so probably was me. We decided that we were going to create a front-facing tool for students, taking all this labor market data and giving it making it available for students so they can make informed decisions. It's easy, digestible labor market information that helps propel them into a career. So Career Coach is on its second iteration, and I think it's getting better and better and better. And we take, everyone's heard of SOC codes, standardized occupation codes. So all occupations in the United States are funneled, that market data is actually given to the government, and it's organized by SOC codes. So the NCES actually has created a pathway between SOCs and programs, SIPs. And then we took that and we multiplied it. We added 1,000 levels of detail. And within that, that's how we created Career Coach. So we create all the careers in your region. So it's all regionalized data, all the way down to zip code level, all the wage data in your region, and it's all the way down to zip level. We get job posting data. So who's posting jobs? And that's all the way down to county level. And then we took a John Holland assessment and we created the assessment tool. So is the assessment the best? No, because there's lots of assessment tools out there. You guys talk to students all the time. We are not a assessment company, we are a labor market data company. What we're trying to do is give a student the ability to make sure that they're on the right path, to understand all the different careers that they could do. The problem is, and you guys know this as you work with students, when a student comes in, they might only know 2 or 3 or 4 careers, right? Because they know what their mom does, and they know what their aunt does, and they know what their sister does. But they have a whole plethora of careers they've never even heard about. So their exposure is this big. We're asking college students, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? My son's 17, he's been being asked this for like 4 years. Hey, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? His exposure to occupations is literally this big. We're asking him to make a decision about his life, and he has this much knowledge. So with Career Coach, we're trying to open that up. We're trying to make sure that the student knows there's all these careers that are potentially out there, and this is how much they're going to make if they get that certification, if they get that associate's degree, that bachelor's degree. Not only this is how much they're going to make, we're going to show them that that job is growing in this region, because we certainly don't want these students coming in, getting an associate's degree for a job that's dying in your region. That's not a success for the student, it's not a success for the college. So we're combining all those things. We're assessing the student. We're giving them a pathway of, look, these are your preferences. This is where you naturally fall into. Look at all these jobs. Look at what type of programs are available at Mesa. So we're doing all that connection here. Not only do we do that, we list those job postings in there so they can actually post a resume to Career Coach, and they can post that to that job. So it's kind of a full circle. People say, well, I prefer a different assessment. We get that. But you guys are working with counselors. We're just trying to make your life easier. We're trying to give you the hands-on ability to have a student come into Career Coach, take an assessment, view careers, look at programs, save those to their profile, and then when they meet with you, they've already done some work, so you can spend your time in a better way, because we know you have 15 or 20 minutes to spend with each of your students, if that, right? So I want to thank Adam, Mona, and it's not Adam? Andrew, I'm sorry. God. So like they were saying, Career Coach is in California. It's all the way through the United States, but they actually really took a big step in the Phoenix area, and they decided to commit to Career Coach. There's a lot of career exploration tools out there. I hope it's doing what you think it was supposed to do, and they have worked really hard to make this successful. And they're not trying to make it successful for the college, they're trying to make it successful for the student. This is a career-facing, student-engaging tool. And so their goal was to make this a success for the student. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of wander through this and kind of give you an idea of how you would go in and access this. So this is the homepage. When a student comes in, however they come in, we have marketing material ideas. I'm not sure where you guys are at as far as creating that marketing material, and I can help you with that. There's multiple ways to get into the tool. They can go in through your website. Hopefully, career services are working with them and helping them find this. Once they come into this tool, we want to encourage them to create a login. And we want to encourage them to create a login for multiple reasons. The first reason is they can save their assessment. They can save resumes if they've uploaded them. They can save their career searches.
They don't have resumes, just remember.
They can't even upload any resumes?
Well, actually, they could, yeah.
I think they can upload in their profile. So Career Coach has multiple features that we've able to personalize for each college. So other career coaches have the ability to build a resume, but we're kind of holding off because you guys have a little bit different service for that. That doesn't mean, I think in their profile they're still able to upload 6 resumes and save them, whether they created one or not. So So it has assessments. You can save your career searches. You can save your program searches. You can save your assessment. You can print out your assessment and take it home to your parents. Like Michael was saying, is that this is not, this doesn't make you have to have a college ID number to log in. Why is that important? Because we want this in front of all your high school students. They're 8th grade, they should be looking at this. You guys have career fairs for high school students, this should be in front of them. Creating that first moment of interest, like, God, what do I want to do? If we can get this in front of students in 8th grade, they're already thinking about, because 4 years go so fast, they're already thinking about, oh, there's careers, oh, there's programs, this is what I have to do, this is how much I can make, oh, this is interesting. A little anecdote, I have a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old. They started working on Career Coach in 6th and 8th grade. It was mind-blowing for them. In Moscow, Idaho, which is really funny where we live, where we have made this software, our high school, we only have one because we're only 24,000, our high school doesn't use Career Coach. They use a different career tool. And when my son was a junior, they all had to meet at the beginning of his junior year. This class of 202 kids all met with the 2 career counselors that are on our campus, 2 for 202 kids. They gave them a career assessment tool. My son raised his hand in the middle of it, and 202 kids, and said, "Why aren't you using Career Coach? This sucks." I was like, oh, Kayla, don't do that, don't say that. He's like, Mom, it was so bad, because he's had experience with Career Coach. We want to make it easy for students to understand what they're doing. It doesn't need to be complicated. You have a 3 to 5 minute window to grab their information, to grab their attention and get them through. It's not just built for high school students. It's also built for people who are coming back to school. So that displaced worker, it's going to help them find some jobs, similar jobs, what their areas of interest are, what certifications and programs they can get here. It's also built for the military individual who has been working in the military and now is coming into a civilian career. And now that person may not know what kind of job can I do and what type of certification am I going to get in the civilian world and where is that available. And I'll show you all that stuff. If we can get them to create a login, it is helpful for you, because if you see that student, you can see their assessment, you can see their profile, you can see their program saves, you can see their career saves. So you get that information prior to even seeing them. On the back end of that, there are administrators, and I think, Mona, are you the only administrator? There are administrators that get to see all that information. Who searched? What zip code were they from? What's their name? What's their email address? What type of careers are they looking for? Hey, did they go in and apply at Mesa? Did they come in and look at tuition? So we are grabbing all that analytics so you can see on the admin site, is this tool successful for your students? Any questions?
One, if they don't create a login and they're doing their assessment, do they have the option to just like email it to a person of their choice?
If you haven't created a login and you do the assessment, it doesn't give you the ability to download it. Right there, you have to create a login.
At one point you said you can see what the student has done before you even see them.
Mm-hmm.
How do we?
Well, I'm hoping, I don't know how your system works, but probably what's happening is I'm coming to you, I have some questions, I make an appointment. Most of the time, do I get to walk in your office? Probably not, right? So I'm making an appointment, at least, so all I can talk about is my experience with other colleges, my son's experience. When he makes an appointment with a counselor, that counselor, so there's 2 for 202, but that's 2 for the whole school actually. So it's actually 1 for 202 because they split their classes. So there's no way she can see 202 students. They're not walking into her to see her. They come, they write up, they make an appointment. She has a secretary. Hopefully you guys are making appointments with those students and you can say, prior to our meeting on Wednesday, I would like you to hand them, Leeward is a college I work with, they have a little business card. And it says, Career Coach Mesa, the URL, a little information. If you want to see an example of that, it's super easy. They give them that to the student. Please fill out, create a login, and take the assessment. and browse around to your career matches. It's so easy that the student doesn't need a tutorial to go through this. So hopefully that's all been done before they see you. They come in to see you, and you can bring up their profile, you can bring up their assessment, you can look at their career saves. So hopefully some of that's already happened. So what we're trying to do is make your time with that student the best time it can be. We're not a replacement for your job. We can't be. But we can help you do a better job. Does that make sense? So you're going to have to figure out how you want to get this in the student's hands. I can't tell you that. I can tell you how other schools do it. Any other questions?
You mentioned that when the student makes an appointment, before we can see the student, we have access to what the student was browsing. Do you mean we have access to the test result?
So her question was, if a student comes and makes an appointment, do they have access to that student's information, the browsing history? So you're going to have to talk to Michael and Mona and figure out how they want that set up. So Mona has access to every student that comes into Career Coach and creates a profile, makes an assessment, etc. There's no reason that actually, I shouldn't say that. You guys have to work out how you want to do that. That can be given to you.
So I have access mostly to the curriculum side, not yet for which students logged in and all that. I think will be career services and some advisors we don't know.
Okay. So Career Coach is fairly new at Mesa. So we're still working on how that's going to look. I don't decide that stuff. I tell you what's available, and you guys figure out what works for you. I can tell you how other colleges do it. I can tell you that sort of thing. You should have access, Mona, because you need the analytics anyway. So it's super.
We're going to show you all what analytics you'll be able to capture in a moment.
So I'm actually going to show you some of that. I'm going to go in as a student first. So we're encouraging the student to create a login. I've actually already created one. I don't know what it is because it's saved, hopefully. See if that's right. Oh, look at that. Okay, so I've created a personality profile because I took the assessment. I've put in some information, what school, what major I'm looking at. I've put in my number and my address, and at any time I can edit this field very easily. So if I move or I change my phone number or whatever. Because I've created a login, I have my assessment results saved. And you can see here I can download those full results here. So because that's already been done and saved, it's always there. I can retake my assessment at any time. I can download it, or I can view career matches. In this case, I'm going to retake the assessment just so you guys can kind of see how this works. So here's the assessment. We offer a 6-question or a 60-question. In your folders, I put in the Holland Science Assessment. So if you're interested how we derive this assessment, it is in your folder. So for the sake of time, I'm going to do the 6-question. I encourage students to do the 60-question. The more questions you answer, the more accurate it's going to be. I'm pretty consistently always the same, depending on how strongly I agree or disagree to something. They're always the top 2 of my personality traits. They flip-flop, which is pretty funny because in my past life, one of them was what I did, and in my present life, one is what I do now. So I match to multiple occupations, right? That's no surprise. All of us are matched to multiple occupations. 60-question is going to be more accurate. I get people who say, no one wants to fill out an assessment. Actually, everybody wants to fill out an assessment because if you go onto Facebook, every other person has posted what Disney character they most resemble or what magical princess I am. Everybody wants to know a little bit more about themselves, right? Like we think we know it, but we're still always interested in who we are and what our interests are. So I don't think it's a challenging thing to get people to answer questions about themselves. We love to talk about ourselves traditionally, right? So in this case, I'm going to take the 6th question. The first thing it says is, don't worry if you have enough education to do this work. And don't worry how much money you're going to make to do this work. We want the student not to think about those things. We want them to answer just what they like. So we'll continue. Would you like to work hands-on with objects, machines, tools, plants, or animals? Do I want to work or play outside, use my physical or athletic abilities? I absolutely don't. That is not something I want to do. Would you like to observe, learn, analyze, evaluate, or solve problems, question and explore physical and biological and cultural happenings? Yeah, that sounds great. I do like that. Would I like to express myself creatively, use imagination or intuition? Feel free to be inventive without limits. Absolutely not. I can barely decorate my house. That is not one of my skills, and I have no interest. So I'm going to say strongly disagree. Would you like to inform, enlighten, help, teach, counsel, or cure people? Use your skills with words to serve people? Absolutely. Would you like to influence, persuade, lead, or manage? Reach your personal or organization goals? Yep. Would you like to work with facts, numbers, and details? Follow directions to organize, plan, and complete a project task? Yep, I like that. So pretty simple. And my first 3 traits are enterprising. Enterprising people are self-confident, although I don't know if that's true, Ralph. We're outgoing and optimistic. We like to organize, direct, and control activities of groups. We are ambitious. We like to be in positions of authority. They place high values on status, power, money, and material possessions. So it gives me a little blurb about who I am. I'm not sure that that's all exactly correct. I'm going to pick and choose what I like. Conventional, my second is I'm conventional, I'm well organized, I'm persistent. I'm definitely persistent. I'm practical in my approach to life. I enjoy clerical and computational activities performed according to set procedures. I like policy and procedures, so that doesn't surprise me at all. Social people are friendly and outgoing. They are cooperative and enjoy working with and being around other people. They are understanding and insightful concerning the feelings and problems of others. That was true. At MZ, we're split into different groups in our office. We have 200 employees, and we're kind of based on kind of what we do, right? In my group, we're all talking nonstop. Like sometimes we're talking over one another, right? Because we are social creatures. I walk back to the data scientists. It's dark. We have kegs on, we call it our campus. We have kegs on campus. There's a keg in the back of the room, and there's like cans and cans of Mountain Dew. And there's like, how many data scientists do we have? 30, 40? Yeah. No one's talking. Like, I don't even understand that. And so I walk in and I have a question, and all their heads swivel around. Like I have a Martian that has just entered their space. Like, because they have been working for probably 6 hours and no one said a word, which I don't even understand. Like, why would you go to work? That doesn't even make sense. And it's kind of dark and gloomy, and it's completely the opposite in Ralph and I, in our end of the building, is it not? It is like you've entered a different world. Social is not going to be the data scientist's top personality traits. They probably shouldn't do my job. In fact, when every great once in a while I'll have to have one of the data scientists answer a question that I cannot answer about the methodology or how and I'm cringing as they're talking. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't say that. You can't say that because they're just going to tell you what they think, because it's either right or wrong. It's black or white, right? And they don't soften any of that up. So this is actually pretty correct on my personality traits. And it actually starts matching my personality to careers and or occupations that clusters out. So finance is coming up as a top match. These two flip-flop all the time for me. Finance and business management and education all flip-flops for me pretty consistently on my 6-question essay. Those are all pretty accurate. If you tab down, you can see that these matches are my least likely that I'm going to be successful in, probably, right? But even underneath this, in manufacturing at a 1% match, it clusters out and it tells me there's these other areas. And I'm maybe matching more than 1%. Production is 1%, so that's probably not a good place for me to go. But quality assurance and inspection, I'm at over a 50% match, so that's interesting, right? Just because I am a 1% match for manufacturing doesn't mean that I don't have a better match in the areas underneath. So let's go ahead and go up. Let's do health sciences. So I can see that I'm a 73% match, as well as these other matches. When I go into here, it's blossoming out again into more careers. So underneath this, there are dietitians, there's medical secretaries, there's mental health. Note the important information here. I'm getting a match. I'm getting an idea of what this career is. Median salary. We know students go to school for the outcome of getting money. When I went to college, my parents said, "Oh, Erin, go to college and find yourself. That's where you find out who you are." My parents were hippies. That's not where you find out where you are now. When you talk to students, the first thing they say is, "I want to know how long it's going to take and how much money I'm going to make and am I going to get a job." Those are their concerns. So the first thing here is the important information for them. It says what the occupation is, what those median salaries are that are regionalized to your data, and it's all government data. And then what most people that do this, what most people across the nation, what most people do across the nation, what type of entry level of education it is. Any questions about that? Okay, so let's say I'm interested in this one as a student. I can save this, and this saves on my profile because I created a login. What's fantastic is I can go through here, I can remove them and save them, and this gives you the ability to find out a little bit more information about me before I come to see you. If I enter into this, there is a bunch of information. It gives us an overview. What is that median salary? Are there any jobs that are being posted in your region? And what available program is being mapped to this? So Mona's been working very, very diligently on making these mappings. So every single career should have a mapping. We can dynamically change it at any point. If you have a transfer program, that can be mapped. So hopefully every occupation in here has a mapping to your college. Because even if, like, let's say I want to be a heart surgeon, I can still come here and get a general ed, or I can get a science degree, or I can probably get a math AS or something, right? That is the beginning to that on that pathway. As you go down, sorry, I'm used to an Apple, so this is a PC. It's throwing me off. It's backwards. Okay, so we've selected regions. Have we just done Maricopa? Oh, so we've selected regions that you can look at. This can be changed if you guys decide you wanted to change that region. But right now we have Maricopa County, and then we have the state of Arizona. So that student can look at that state, all the job postings, the median wages, etc., in a state view or in the Maricopa view county. It is defaulted to Maricopa. This next tab shows that student one more time. Hey, these are the things that you would do in this job on a daily basis. Why are we kind of hammering on this? We're hammering on this because we don't want someone to become a nurse if they're not good at they don't want to be a nurse, right? Like, that's not a success for the student or the college. If this person doesn't want to do any of these things and they've spent a semester or 2 semesters, we've wasted their time and your time, and we haven't gotten the supply out to employers, right? So this is that next chance for that student to say, oh, you know what? I do see myself doing that. I do see myself doing that. So we're trying to educate them. What type of tasks would you do in this occupation? This is the only data that is not regionalized in Career Coach. We cannot get this data at a regionalized level. That's why it says national education attainment. So it's showing you that across the nation, most people that are doing this job, in fact, about 57% of them have a certification. That may or may not be absolutely true in your region, right? So welders, for instance, across the nation, I think most of them actually, the majority of them have a high school diploma. But in Arizona, specifically, most of them have a certification. But it gives that student an idea about how long they would have to study. What do they need to do? If I don't want to study for 6 years, and most people doing this particular occupation, like if 80% of them have a professional degree and I don't want to study for 6 years, that's that second chance for me to say, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to start a little slower. Maybe I want to become a medical transcriptionist, and then maybe I want to go to pharmacy school, but I want to work as a medical transcriptionist for a couple years, right? It's not an end all. It could be a stepping platform. And then last but not least on this page is skills that employers are asking for. So we're scraping your region, we're getting the jobs that are actually asking for this particular occupation. We're scraping them and we're telling you how often in job postings these skills are being posted. This is hugely valuable. If I got a certification here for medical transcriptionist, I can go in here, this is now a job I want to do. I know what skills employers are asking for. When I submit my resume, when you're going to see that there's live job postings here, when I submit my resume, I'm going to make sure I have those skills. I'm going to make sure those skills are listed on my resume, right? I'm going to do that because most of the time now, resumes are being filtered by computers, right? So I have the skills the employer is looking for. I have the certification the employer is looking for. I'm going to make sure those things are on my resume because my resume's not going to get filtered in the no pile, right? So this is hugely valuable for the student. If they don't have that skill, they need to be going and talking to their faculty and saying, this employer is actually saying I need these skills, right? Wages. It's showing us regionalized data for what people in your region, Maricopa County, are actually making, all the way from the 10th percentile to the 90th percentile. So we have given this student the idea of what career are you going to be highly matched to? Are there jobs? Is it growing? What skills do you need? Is there a program available at Mesa? And look, this is what your 10th percentile all the way to the 90th percentile, this is what people in your area make. We're giving them easily digestible forms of labor market information that is prevalent to making their decisions and making their life more successful, right? This is the ebb and the flow of job postings. It's just showing the student that this particular job posts really high sometimes and doesn't post very high other times. It's the ebb and flow, but this is what's really valuable. These are the companies in your region that are actually posting for this particular occupation. So now I know what skills, I know what companies, I know what type of certification I need. It's kind of put all those pieces together for me, right? And this is really valuable labor market data here. There are currently 519 medical transcriptionists that are employed in Maricopa County, and it is growing. That's hugely valuable. If I spent 6 months getting a certification, am I going to have a job in 4 years? That's important, right? It would concern me if I was getting a certification and this job was declining. That would worry me, especially if I wanted to stay in Maricopa County. Most of your students stay in your region. So this is important projection data. And last but not least, what are the job postings in your region that actually are asking for this, and where are they? So here's a list of all these jobs, and if I click on any one of them, it will take me right to the live job posting. Your student has worked with career services, they've gotten a resume, potentially they've uploaded that resume into Career Coach. They can they're like, I have the skills, I need a job, this is awesome, it's all one-stop shopping, and they apply to the job with the resume that you helped them build specifically for this job. So pretty exciting stuff, right? I hope.
So how do you reconcile the ebb and flow of the job postings with the employment projection? So the employment projection looks like it was going straight up, but then the job postings are really fluctuating.
That's a fantastic question. Her question was, how do we reconcile the ebb and the flow of job postings with employment projections that are going up? Because ebb and flow of job postings can change month to month. When we look at projections and projection data, we take historical projections and we look at what's happened in your region over time, and we take the state and the federal projections and we look at that data. We do a comparison of how that lines up with our methodology, and then we project out 5, 10, and 15 years. At county level, we're a company that's been in business long enough now that we can see how our projections actually for any occupation actually came to be true. And at county level, we're 84% accurate. Because job posting changes based on all kinds of things, whether people are graduating. Sometimes I post more jobs because I know that there's going to be a lot of nurses graduating from Mesa. Sometimes I post jobs because I'm building a new facility. And sometimes I don't post jobs because I have a lot of resumes. We don't base any projections off of job postings because it's so volatile and so inaccurate. Did that answer your question? Any other questions?
Can you search for jobs based on a job title?
So the question is, another great question, can you search for a job based on a job title? In Career Coach, you should be able to, but it's still going to be arranged by SOC. Let's try that. What's that?
You can go under the career search, and then you just have to click on employment. So you've got a couple of links you got to go through, but you can do it. You have to go through that, and then type in the career, and then click on employment, and then scroll down, and then click on live.
Okay. So I tried it just to play around. So because this is aligned by SOC, so in Analyst you can do job title, which is our other software. Like I typed in anesthesiology, hoping anesthesiology technician would come up. There is a problem because job titles are, and we grab job title data all the time. That is a big thing of what we do. But Career Coach, because of the SOC to SIP crosswalk, it's going to have more limitations. I'm thinking of a job title that doesn't have a SOC. You have another job title? Anesthesiology tech doesn't come up. What's another job title that doesn't have a SOC? That should. Yeah.
Yeah, but it means so many things.
Yeah. Yes. So this is actually a pretty good, if you do advisor, because advisor's really, really gray. That's a big area, and it's bringing up all kinds of advisors, right? So not to dig into the data too much, every job, no matter what, all that labor market data is being reported to the government. It doesn't matter that anesthesiology technician doesn't have a SOC code connected to it. It exists, it's a job, all that person's information and that job is being reported. It's happening. It's just being reported under a particular SOC. And we're very good at understanding all those job titles that actually fit underneath a SOC code. And so in this case, I brought up advisor, and it brought up all those different advisors. I'm thinking advisors will actually have a SOC. Career advisors, I think, actually have a SOC. It's under mental health. But we did a very general search. Ralph, did you want to say something? I'm sure, yeah, because that has a SOC. Okay. So that's how I would navigate that as a beginning student who took an assessment, created a profile, and then explored it via what am I good at, right? So that's a great way to see that. You can search this. How am I doing on time? You can search this by career. So if I know what career I want, I can search it by career. If I know what program I want, do you guys have a welding program? It pulls all occupation data for the whole Maricopa or all of Arizona, but only your programs are showing up.
Well, I meant Maricopa colleges. All colleges in Maricopa? Or just
No,
Mesa?
just Mesa.
Just your program, just Mace's program.
People from other colleges here, so.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, we're hoping, John does this every time John's like, don't talk to me, don't talk to me, don't talk to me, Erin. We love Career Coach. Obviously, we made it. We've seen the success across the United States for Career Coach. I am a huge proponent of Career Coach because I have the opportunity of working with a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old. And I have seen from such a young age how it changed their outlook. You know, because they knew at 13, sixth grade and eighth grade, because they knew all these occupations, I could see them upon entering high school. They were good students prior to entering high school because I'm that mom. I know their grades every single day. Upon entering high school, they were already talking about what colleges they wanted to go to. They were talking about what colleges they wanted to go to by middle school. They were talking about what occupations they were looking at. They were talking about what type of wages they were going to get. And they were talking about what skills they had to have to get into that. That's, for me, that's hands-on, this is a success, right? So my kid's still, my son's making college decisions right now, and he's still using Career Coach. So I'm a fan.
So along with, and we were talking about the different colleges, one thing that I looked up because you used medical transcriptionist as a sample. If we're going to use this better at the high school, the fact that it's only tied to MCC makes it a little challenging because it'll say AJAC is what you could do for that. So any program that you don't have here, it's going to say AJAC. But I could send a kid, if we're talking full school-wide, Gateway has that program. So how does that strongly limits our conversation when we're in the high school setting.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to decide how you spend your money as a district-wide. I've been jumping up and down, and you can ask John, I'm on my 4th year of saying, oh my gosh, this district needs Career Coach. This would be advantageous for you. And it's because I work with other districts where they have a district-wide Career Coach, and it has every program of every college and every student in every middle school and every high school and every workforce board that's using this, because this isn't just for young students. It's for everyone who wants to get a certification. If we can get that happening, and Michael and Mona and Andrew, are your guys' pilot program to see if this works for everyone. Let me tell you, if I could have done this, you guys would have had Career Coach 4 years ago. But unfortunately, John doesn't let me spend his money. I wish he did, but he doesn't, because I would have made sure you had it. It's an awesome program. Does it do everything? No, it doesn't, because no software does, but it's a pretty darn good start, and we're working all the time to make improvements to make this a success for students. This is a student-facing tool. It is a successful tool for students.
And those conversations are happening. Oh, I know, sure. And with your input and so forth.
Yeah, I could see if that piece changes, we have a lot more leeway and say, hey, this is something that we can really use for all. Sure. And still see how we can use it, but I think you have a broader scope, right, if we were able to do that.
And we have career coaches that already have implemented that. Maybe you can mention that. And I'd be happy to show that to you, to show you all the different, there's different configurations that we can
So basically what you all should know is this is a conversation that your district is having. I don't know where your district's going to end up. That's not my job. My job is to make sure that this is successful for Mesa right now. When your district decides like this is a path we are going to go, then it will be my job to make sure it's successful for all of your colleges. But my job right now is to make sure that Mona's happy. So if you think that this is something that you can utilize, start having those conversations. Talk to the people in your college that this matters to. Talk to the district office. Talk to John's boss. And talk to Ralph.
And I thought the district will be joining MCC like the rest of the colleges, but we are mapping transfer degrees, so we're adding more transfer degrees in here, so it will be less showing of the edges. So as soon as
So I'm not going to show it, but Mona works off this massive online spreadsheet, and it has every career, and she's able to put in what programs match to those careers, and then if it's a transfer, she can put in the transfer program, etc. So you have the ability to really fine tune this. We scrape your programs upon demand. If Mona knows that your guys' programs are changing for next semester, she emails me and she's like, we're rescraping. Please don't mess up any of my original fine tunings of these matches, but we rescrape. So it's pretty dynamic as far as getting all that information updated. So if I wanted to search for a program, so I was a student, I wanted a program, I know that I want to look at welding, I can search just by program, I can put in welding, and sure enough, there's some programs. If I want to go look at that, here's where we're super happy that you found the program you want to use. Do you want to look at that program information? Do you want to see how much it's going to cost you? Or do you want to start an application? So I can tab into any of those, and those go to specific URLs. You can, if you had this career coach at your college, you can change these tabs. Maybe you don't want tuition information. Maybe you want it to say, please email the career counselor. So you have some flexibility here. This is not it and it only. This is just how they chose to arrange this. As long as you have a URL, and you have someone who's answering those emails, because I can guarantee you students feel ignored. There's a lot of studies out there that show students feel ignored. Students don't think that colleges don't care whether, I mean outside of the elite colleges, right? Students don't feel like colleges care whether they attend or not. So if they send an email and say, hey, I'm interested in a program, and no one responds to them, that is a very bad thing. You cannot put a tab that says, please get back to me if you don't respond. It is a death spiral. Yes? It's however you want to map it. I don't know how we've mapped it here. But you could map it. I mean, you have the ability to change whichever URL you want this to go to. Good question. All right. So I went into welders, I can look at program information, tuition information, I can start an application, and here are those related careers, which circles me back into giving me all that information about this particular occupation. So we've kind of walked through, taking a career assessment, creating a login. We've talked about how we would browse careers. We've talked about how we would browse programs. But if I were in the Army, I'm a veteran. I can get started with a military search. I can choose my military. I can choose what branch. I know what branch I am. I know if I was an officer or if I was enlisted. I always use 12R because it's the only one I remember. This goes off their mock code. They all know their mock codes. Every single one of them, because it's been literally drilled into their brains what their mock code is. So they know what their occupation code is in the military. And so this requires a mock code. And in the Army, 12R is an interior electrician. So this is mapping to all the civilian careers that this person could potentially do electrical drafter, engineering tech, electrician, electrician helper, construction and building inspector, and it's showing this potential student what sort of thing they would need, a certification, a bachelor's degree, that sort of thing. And then once they've found that match, they can easily begin that search, right? We can find out what programs are available at Mesa, or if it were district-wide, what program that is being offered district-wide for this. So right off the bat, we help that person who had a career, who has knowledge, who has skills, who has abilities, know that they can get a certification, and potentially they can get that certification for electrician here at Mesa, and they can get a job. So that's kind of, you can see how simple this software is. You guys don't need me to walk you through it. I could have let you loose and you guys all could have done this. You could in 5 minutes, like I flew over here, but you didn't really need me to do this. It's so easy and so self-explanatory, you can do it without being trained. You need to know what's behind it. You need to know that data and where we're getting that data from. You need to trust that that data is correct. So when we say this particular occupation in your region pays this much money, we get that from government sources that are reported on every single one of us every day. We know where you work. We know how much money you make. We know what your occupation code is. We know your ethnicity. We know your gender. We gather that data, and that's the data that's actually powering this tool.
I have a question that's more about kind of my own curiosity. So, you know how students can go in and just not have a profile at all, not have a student ID, and they can just browse from CC. That's great. How are we paying for it? So, for example, are there incentives for students to have a login? Are there more analytics and information that we gain? And I'm trying to see.
Sure. So the question is great. Why would we ever want? Why is it important for the college to have you guys proactively create a login? What does that do for the college? Does it do anything for you in particular? Well, maybe. It might do something for you in particular because it gives you all that information about that student before you see that student. So that's a plus because your job is to help students. And you wouldn't do your job if you weren't passionate about this job because this is a hard job, right? So one is helping you. If they've created a login, you're having access to some of that information. From a college's standpoint, the college is able to gather data. And let me put in my login. Hold on.
If a student wants to save something on the open site, it would prompt them, oh, you got to create a login. Give you an idea of how it prompts them to create a login. I'm trying to think what other functionality it would save for me.
But our question is what good does that do them?
I know, but I just
So on the back side, so that actually helps you because maybe you can potentially help that student upon their path. On the back side, we're gathering some of this data. We can see how many visitors you guys have actually had. So in the last 7 days, you've had 287 students that have visited that site. That's pretty robust.
And that's based on logins or anybody who touched anything?
We have total visits or unique visitors. So you can see here, we're mapping total and we're mapping unique. When it gets time for Mesa to write the check, to renew this contract, they're trying to determine was this useful and was this helpful for students. With 287, what's your student population here? How many students? 287 visited the site in the last 7 days. That's pretty impressive. Did you guys as a combination see 287 students? I mean, maybe. That's pretty impressive. So when she's looking at, should we renew this contract and should we pay for this? This is helpful information. If this were 2 visitors, that's not good, right? Then the site's not reaching students and helping them.
So I think also though is like we need to get like, I'm thinking we in general is all of us here. Maybe not towards you because I think it's phenomenal. I've been playing around on it a lot right now. But
it's very informative, and it helps students make, data-driven decisions and not go into debt. And we could really use this to our advantage because our tuition cost is so low. However, if I'm a student and I'm navigating our website, and I was first here to this college, I would have no idea what this career coach thing means. And I wish that on our homepage, at our program page, not the program, the department level, that it was front forward. And right next to it is a button saying, sign up, enroll now. Because then they can see it right there. They can look at what the cost is, what they can get for a salary. Because they're looking, when they come to our site, I'm just going to plug in, I'm going to be elementary school teacher. I'm not going to know to go to our program page. That's internal. That's how we navigate. That's not how they navigate.
So remember that, let me rephrase that in comment in kind of an idea. Making sure the placement on the website is easy for the student to find, to get this information. We have to remember this is so new. We haven't even hit a year yet, have we? So Mesa, as a pilot college, is figuring out how they want this introduced to students, how this works, because it's not so simple as they just get to make the decision. They have to be talking to career services. Hey, does this work for you? How would you like it? So what we're going to have in a year is probably different than what we have today. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. So I can speak to it a little bit. So the original core of the emphasis was career search. We wanted to have generic career search, and then Michael was very hot on the career salary data, right? And so the salary data, we wanted to face it on our side. That was the core emphasis. Then with the career on the other side, I will say, on these little expandable salary data you see on our side, we do about 300 clicks of those a day on Mason side. We do show people are actually interested in seeing more of each one of those. It's a high number, 300 clicks per day. But we want to keep them, because we want to keep them in our ecosystem as far as our marketing ecosystem and our kind of lead flow and enrollment flow. We kind of want to still funnel them in our marketing path and use the data elsewhere. We want to see how career coach as far as the assessment it can be used, but for right now, it's kind of like it's the secondary versus kind of going with a field of interest model. We're going to go to field of interest, kind of using that as front end. But we can, if you want to, we could reuse the information, little snippets, or we can build widgets to kind of put the data on other pages. You put it on the education studies department website, put it on, applied sciences for welding website, and you have, explore this career like that.
I can show you an example of that.
Correct. But right now, what we show is that from all the statistics of why people go use our site, people come in with the concept of firm's degrees, and they want a specific name. They want welding. They want nursing. We put other ways of methods trying to find stuff, and they have a term in their mind. They have a keyword in their mind, or they search. So, and it's built for that model, and again, we're exploring changing it. But again, this is we just launched.
Yeah.
Can we embed it in all campus courses? Is that a possibility?
That I don't know. Probably, maybe.
Okay.
That's a bigger discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys have the API, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, when you see the sampling, when you expand to all that stuff, I have access to so much information that we can put up there. Like everything you see on the actual career coach site, we can put up their job postings. I can put companies that are hiring. I can do all kinds of crazy stuff that we have access to now. I will know as far as I can speak real briefly, talking to Maricopa level. We did build the system so it is Maricopa ready. Obviously, our contract's Mesa right now, but it's built with guided pathways. The whole pathway mapping project goes district, and we kind of get the okay that we're okay to use the district. Essentially, now it's built to do it. So I built this so it's not just Mesa only; it's built to do more. So we have growth in mind.
Which is awesome forethought.
Question about privacy.
Okay, so privacy. California is right now, I think, the strictest state in the union for privacy. They make us, it's FERPA compliant privacy. So here's the thing is, you guys don't have access to all this admin data. There's a lot of student data on here. When you get access to this data, you're an employee. You at Mesa, you already have to sign a lot of things. Like you can't look up my name and go tell your brother or your husband what I'm studying. So this is all FERPA compliant. When you have admin access, you're following underneath this is your student information. You wouldn't have access to any of this without being I have access because because I'm a rock star, but I'm not selling your data. I'm not using your data. I'd also get fired from MZ, and I'd get sued, and I would get in a lot of trouble. And so right now, none of you have access to this data. I think Mona is the only, I think you're the administrator. I think you're the only one right now. So this is actually showing you more analytics. I can see in the last 7 days, or the last year, or the last 2 years, or whatever, I can see how many careers and how many programs and who looked at what and what they thought of, what they clicked on. I can see what job postings they looked at. And there's a couple pages here. I can see the geography of where are the zips and where are the top cities that people actually logged in. That's super valuable information. I can see how many took an assessment. So 176 started an assessment and 148 completed. That's pretty darn good. Trust me, I look at this stuff all the time, and to have that many people who started an assessment and finished it, that's great. We can see the top referrals. So where are those clicks coming from? So this is where he can see when they went into your guys' website, where did those clicks come from? So we're actually mapping that. You can put in all those URLs and see exactly where that student came from. We can see clicks from pages. So we're grabbing how many people went to programs, how many people went to tuition, and how many people went to admissions. So we can see that data. So on the back side of this, this is showing whether or not this tool is doing what it was designed to do, which is help inform students of their career paths and how those link to your guys' programs. So as a counselor, and if I had admin access, I could go see those profiles. So we can see the profile, we can see who it is, if they took an assessment, we can look at their assessment. So we can see when they signed up, we can see their last login. So it's really fantastic when we see like a 417 and a 419 and a 4, when we see multiple logins by one student. So.
And the student doesn't have to worry about their information being released in any way. I think there's
Nope.
And then is there a survey that's given to them at the end of their time or not?
There is not a survey, but that's a great suggestion.
Sometimes there's too many surveys. I'm asking.
Yeah, although a survey would be interesting, more so for us. Like I think of like, what would you guys do with a survey? Yeah, maybe you'd do something, but for us, it's actually really helpful because we would maybe make changes based on survey responses. Although we work very, very closely with our colleges, so we are consistently taking things that they want and across the United States, and then we put those in a Confluence page, and we're trying to see how will that affect all career coaches across the United States, and is this something that multiple colleges are asking for, and I just got an email last night on all these cool things that are changing for a career coach in the next sprint cycle, which is 2 weeks. I mean, so we're working on making this better, more dynamic, more exciting for students, and more successful. This is not done. Yeah.
Question. I think I asked once before, and maybe you all can give me some more detail about it. So when I sign up and make an account, will y'all or the system ever circle back and say, hey, we saw you logged in on 4/18, it is now 5/31. You haven't been back, is there that loop back to students? Because I know like Maricopa CareerLink does that.
Yeah.
And sends me job postings to that account. And so that's a question.
We as a site do not do that.
Okay.
It is, do I need to repeat that? The idea is that it would be nice if a career coach actually had some sort of follow-up tool. Push notifications. It's awesome. Right now, what you have the ability to see is you have the ability to see who signed up, where their current school is, when they signed up, and when their last session was.
Well, and who has that? I mean, the only person right now is Mona.
Yeah, but they do. So I do what I'm told.
Yeah.
So when she lets me know, and don't tell my husband that, because that's actually not the truth in that case. So in this area, and I actually don't necessarily do that all the time at MZ, so I don't necessarily do what I'm told. So just so you know, if someone emailed me or called me, etc., and asked for admin access, I'm going to go to Mona and say, is this appropriate? Who is it? I'm going to do all my communications through Mona because I'm not here. I am not an employee at Mesa. I am not determining who has admin access.
But specifically to that point, we are having conversations about that. That is something that I've talked with developers about, how we might allow you all to do this. And they all went, like, I think we can do that. So,
there might be something coming.
Yes, ma'am. I can't guarantee it, but they did kind of affirmatively. It's like, no, I think we can do that.
So if you are, here's what I tell everyone, and it doesn't matter which software I'm working with, whether it's Analyst or whether it's Career Coach, if you have a suggestion and you have an idea of why you want it, if you send it to me in an email form, I want this access, this is why it's important to me, this is how we would utilize this function, I send it immediately to the data team. And as I say, we have a Confluence page with all those coming in all the time. So it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we're sure going to consider it.
Great, thank you.
There's fruit, there's coffee, there's juice, there's cookies, there's Danish. Please grab some. You guys have my card, you have information. Let me know if you have any questions. And I hope this was helpful. Thank you.